Hello and welcome to the Life Friendly Business Podcast. I'm your host, Erin Thomas Wong, and today I'm speaking to Gina Smith, the Director of Create Visual Aids. She shares her journey of building and scaling her product-based business all around visual symbols to help people communicate. So this is for young children, people with autism, speech and language difficulties, or other neurodiversities. Gina shares her experience and her tips for selling on Amazon, for building her team so that she can release some of the day-to-day duties of running a product-based business, and also how she's managed to keep it all life-friendly. Hi Gina, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi Erin, that's okay.
So tell me first of all why you decided to start your own business.
I was a teacher. And I did like teaching, but there was a lot I didn't like as well. And I always knew that I wanted to kind of work my way out one day. But I would say there was no one gradual day that I started my own business. I just gradually built something alongside teaching and gradually reduced my teaching until I left.
That's a really great way to do it, isn't it? Because it's really reducing that risk, that scary moment of saying, I'm handing in my notice.
Yes, and one of the great things about being a teacher is that you can go part-time. So after I had my children, I was able to go part-time and reduce one and build the other.
Fantastic. So explain a little bit more to us about what you do.
I help people communicate, routine and transition to others through the use of visual symbols. This is really important for anybody, but it's particularly important for young children or for people with autism or speech and language difficulties, anybody who struggles to communicate. What we do is we use lots of little pictures to show somebody what's happening in their day and to allow them to communicate with you.
It sounds amazing. And I know that, your products help so many families in those situations. And what does this actually look like? Give me an example of the kind of products that you make.
So my best-selling product is simply a visual timetable. So it's a set of cards that just show somebody what's happening in a day. But if I can ask you a question, if I may, if you imagine that you woke up and somebody said to you, get dressed, get in the car, and you didn't know where you were going, how long you were going to be there for, who you were going to see, whether or not you were going to get fed, whether or not you were going to come home, and also you didn't have any experience to tell you that it would be okay, how would that feel?
Absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. Because we like control, right? That's how it feels for anybody, for a young child or for anybody who struggles with communication. It's scary, it's frustrating, it brings on anxiety. When you're scared or you're anxious, your behavior changes. Hence why we might see somebody being really upset. A parent might think their child's acting out, and actually they just don't understand what's happening. Life feels out of control, and that's really, really scary for them. So what we need to do is find a solution. So with pictures, we can show somebody what's happening in the day. And I could talk all night about why pictures are really good for communication, but a quick example is if you say an instruction like get dressed, if somebody struggles to process language, then they've not only got to figure out what you said, but they've got to remember what you said as well. Or so if they've got a picture, they can just keep looking at it until they understand what it is. And they can carry their schedule around all day with them, just a load of pictures showing them what's happening. It also helps children and anybody who needs visuals have some ownership because they can understand what's happening, they feel control, they can start to do things independently. It also allows them to communicate with you. Because if they can't find the words for what it is that they want, they can show you a picture. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I can imagine so many of us out there as well have experienced the daily frustration of the morning routine of get your teeth brushed, have you packed your bag, have you got your lunchbox? And I assume that for all children, having that visual checklist would be amazing.
Exactly. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is raising awareness that visuals are for everybody. They're not just for people with special educational needs. They can be used by anybody. My own children don't have special educational needs, and I use visuals with them all the time because they work.
So how did you, obviously you had the idea for doing this, and you started making them yourself at home.
Yes.
How on earth did you go about getting these out there to the world?
Well, I remember having the idea when I was a teacher and I was on a course for supporting children with challenging behaviour. And I remember thinking, those children have got the visuals they need in school and they haven't got them at home, yet home is the place that they need them the most, because school's got a lot of routine, and home can be all very different. So actually these children need them at home. So I sold a couple on eBay, and the response was amazing. The parents were just so grateful and like, what I do can be such an instant game changer, that they were just so grateful to have them. So I built a website, and I just started selling bespoke timetables at first, so the customer could choose the exact symbols that they wanted. But what I found, and first of all, I was really passionate about everything being bespoke and being exactly right for the individual child. But what I found was that parents were coming to me and saying, I don't know where to start, help, please just tell me what I need. Or parents were buying the same set of visuals again and again and again. So from there, I developed the visual timetable for home, which to this day is my bestseller, which is a set of 35 symbols. And I chose those 35 symbols based on what people have ordered from me the most, and from my experience as a mum, just all the things from day-to-day life, like getting dressed, getting shoes on, cleaning your teeth, going to a club, going swimming, all those sorts of things. And I put them together in a pack, and I started selling them on my website and on Amazon. And it's been quite a journey, actually, because originally I used to hand laminate everything, and couldn't keep up with sales. My back was in agony from all the laminating and cutting. So I brought an employee on, and she was laminating with me, but we still couldn't keep up. So then I started to get the boards, because I attached the pictures to a board with Velcro. So I started to get the boards manufactured and the little symbols manufactured on these cards. And I was compiling it all at home. And for a few months, probably twice a week, my husband and I would spend the evening putting all these orders together. And then eventually I found a manufacturer who makes the whole thing and puts it together for me. And that's been amazing, because it's allowed me to bring lots more communication products to the market, and it's allowed me time to spread the word of communication. So it's been quite a journey, but it's been a brilliant one.
So it's been 6 years since you started, has it?
Oh, I think 8 years, actually, but I didn't do much for the first 2 because I was having babies, and it was all a juggle.
And so now you're selling really successfully on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And for people listening who might be thinking that feels incredibly daunting, I mean, first of all, you know, getting a manufacturer to make your product feels daunting. Like, how has the journey been for you with understanding how Amazon works and, you know, getting your products to be seen?
I think the important thing to know is that there was no point where I went from not having a business to suddenly selling on Amazon, having everything together. I just took tiny baby steps along the way, and it just kind of all came together over time. So, you know, I've just explained the process of how I got to where I am now with having my main product manufactured, but you just had to just give everything a go and find out what worked and what didn't. You know, I used to sell hardly anything on Amazon, and now I have a much better understanding of how Amazon works, so I can make that work for me. And one of the good things about Amazon actually is that, I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with Amazon, don't get me wrong, but one of the good things is that it allows you to reach other countries. So once you kind of get to know what you're doing, it's actually not that hard to start reinstating other countries. So it helps me spread the love, really, of communication.
So obviously you are in the cocoon, and you've been in the cocoon for quite a few years. So It's been really nice for me to watch you grow and scale the business. And one thing I know we've talked about a lot is that moment of letting go and taking on an employee so that they can help you. And, you know, how did you find that? Because obviously, you know, for a lot of us, our businesses are our babies, and we feel like we can only do what we do. So how has that process of letting go been for you?
Brilliant. The best thing I've ever done, but it took me a long time to get there. The first thing I'd say is at no point did I advertise for somebody to come work for me. I got to know somebody and thought, actually, they'd be really great. And then I said to them, would you like to work with me? So my really good friend, Jane, who I've known for years and years and years, back in the really early stages of the business, I messaged her, and I knew Jane was a perfectionist, which is somebody that I wanted. And I said, well, would you fancy doing some laminating for me? And you can work from home. And I knew that fitted in because she was a single mum to 2 young boys. So she started laminating for me, and she still works for me to this day. So that was amazing. And then last year, people had been saying to me for years that I needed to stop laminating so that I could start doing the big stuff. And it took a really long time for me to let go. But eventually I kept chatting to someone. I kept thinking she'd be really great. And what I found was I invited her to come in because Jane works away from home. But I needed somebody here with me to work making the bespoke orders. And I brought her in. And what I found was not only did she lighten my workload, but she started bringing her own ideas to things and doing things in a better way that I hadn't thought of. And I was like, oh, well, that's good. That works. And so she's been working for me since last July and has taken on more and more. And it's just been amazing because it's allowed me to step back and do the stuff that I really want to do, which is really to broaden the business and educate more people about communication.
I think I'm right in saying that you had quite a big milestone in the last year where you were actually able to go on holiday and leave the business.
I did. I went on holiday and I left the business running, which was incredible. I've never done that before. Amazon's great. Amazon can run itself. But the website, I've always closed everything down. I've always just said to my customers, look, I'm a one-man band. I'll be back in a week. But this time I didn't do that. So that was amazing. That was a big step for me.
Wonderful. And obviously, you know, on this podcast, we talk a lot about making our businesses life friendly. Mm-hmm. So how have you managed to grow and scale this business, but still stick to your boundaries of, you know, looking after your kids and having time for you? Do you feel like you have done that, or has it been a struggle?
I think I have done that now. And weirdly, my business is so much bigger now, but yet it is so much more life friendly now. You have to learn through experience, and the way to do it is to find your team. You have to bring people in to help you. And it took me, as you know, Erin, it took me a long time to bring in support. I'm still not there with everything, but I gradually brought in support. And I remember my little girl saying to me when I was little, Mummy, you're always making symbols. And I was like, oh no. But, you know, I want my children to see me working hard, but I also want them to see me relaxing and playing hard. And so, yeah, I've brought in my team, and I've always tried during the week not to work between 3 and 7. So between them getting home from school and putting them to bed. And I've just gradually prioritized through, which has been through bringing in other people to help me.
Yeah, fantastic. And I know that, you know, one big journey that you've been going through as you've been scaling is kind of taking more ownership of the business and of what you do. And you now create your own symbols.
I do. So for many years, I used the artwork from another company, which was amazing. And I was always very grateful to them for that. So I used them under license. But the business wasn't quite mine. And there was a few things I couldn't do, and I just really felt that it was time for the business to be completely my own. So I reached out to someone. I actually reached out to Jill Pryor at Blossom Lane Creatives, who is amazing, and talked to her about designing my own range of visuals. And that has just been the best thing I ever did, because Jill is so talented, and I had quite a specific idea of what we needed to do, because we needed to create these little people that needed to be gender neutral, skincare neutral, age neutral, so that any pictures that I made could apply to anybody in the world, no matter what age, no matter what colour skin they've got. So I set Jill quite a challenge, and honestly, I don't think I could possibly be happier with what she designed for me. So she originally made the 35 symbols that are in the visual timetable for home. And now I think we've got over 200 symbols, and she makes me more every single month. And it's just brilliant. I love it. And what's great is that the response from my customers has been fantastic as well. In fact, we've named the little people in the pictures. We call them the beanies, and they're lots of fun, and people love them. So that's great. It's been brilliant.
And taking you back to the beginning of that journey, like, I remember how absolutely terrifying it was for you to make that decision and make that change, because you had a business that was working and people were buying your products and all those things. And you know, it was that real, like, oh, do I do this? Do I risk it? And it's absolutely paid off in leaps and bounds, hasn't it?
I think I had to do it as well for my own anxiety levels. I was very aware that the business, you know, if anybody had taken the artwork away from me, I lost my entire business, and I had to take ownership and do it myself. And I was always had quite a lot of anxiety around that. But, you know, I was so scared that people wouldn't welcome my range of visuals, but it's been absolutely amazing. And also at the same time, my manufacturer, who is fantastic, helped me find just the right material to print the visuals on. And it was really important that we had something that was really durable, because you might have someone being very heavy-handed with these visuals. They might get thrown across the room, they might end up in the bath, they might end up getting screwed up, and I needed something that was really, really strong. So we changed that at the same time. So the relaunch, which was last May, was a great success, which was good.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's so inspiring to see how you have, you know, grown and evolved in the business. And I know that you've got lots of exciting ideas about what's coming up. But one thing I want to touch on is, you know, obviously I speak to a lot of people who really struggle to get their product-based business off the ground. And in fact, you know, I have more service-based businesses coming to me. And I think that that's evidence as well of how hard it is with a product-based business. So, you know, I'd really love to hear from you what you found to be the challenges of building a product-based business and how you've kind of overcome those.
In terms of sales, Amazon. Amazon can be a bit of a nightmare, and you have to get a lot of experience of how to run it, because, you know, if they don't like what you're doing, they will just close your account. But you very quickly learn what they expect of you, and you learn how to make it run. And I would still be a teacher if it weren't for Amazon, because I would never, ever get the sales that I get through Amazon. And it helps me reach a lot of people, which is my goal. It helps me reach a lot of parents, especially if you've got a parent who's very, very stressed. They've just had their child's had a diagnosis of autism. They're told to use visuals. They can go on Amazon. They can prime it. It's with them the next day. So that, in terms of reaching the sales. In terms of everything else, I will keep saying this, but you just have to keep chipping away at it. So I think I was quite naive when I started, and I just laminated and stuck it in the post, and that was fine. But then one day it occurred to me, I really should be getting product safety for all this. Do you think I could get a straight answer about product safety? It took me weeks, months, phoning people, trying to find out what I needed. Is it a toy? Isn't it a toy? Nobody would give me a straight answer. They'd say, does it have play value? And I'd say, well, a bottle of bleach has play value. If you give it to a child, they will play with it. Children will play with anything. So that was a real challenge, but you just have to keep going. I've had other red tape issues. Like, for example, I really struggled to get insurance to sell in America at one point, because they don't want to insure product-based businesses in America because there's such a claim culture. And my big challenge at the moment is getting back into the EU after Brexit. There's so much that needs doing to be able to sell in the EU again. But you just have to take tiny steps all the time, and it will take months and months and months. But then suddenly you get there and you look back and you think, oh, wow, look where I've come. And I've been through 4 different manufacturers and 4 different ways of bringing my product together, and I finally found the one that really, really works. You just keep going, just keep chipping away at it.
And in terms of the cash flow as well, and investing in your business, how does that work? How does it work for you?
Good question. I didn't ever really have to invest in my business, because I started with a £5 laminator from WH Smith and some laminate that I probably bought off Amazon. I can't remember. So there was never any great cash injection. And I was paying a percentage for the artwork. I was paying a percentage of my sales, so I didn't have to pay that until the sales had come in. So it gradually grew, and I took a few loans along the way. But the biggest thing I'd say now is about finding a manufacturer who believes in you and treats you well. So my guy, who is Matt at LA Digital in Poole, I've got to mention his name because he's amazing. He really believes in my business, and what he's done is he gives me really good payment terms. So he gives me 90 days to pay an invoice. So that gives me time to buy it all in, sell it. And this year he's done this amazing deal for me, which has just allowed me to take the products as I need it, and still get a really good unit price. But it's just about building relationships and keep going. There have been some really tight cash flow moments over the year. but I always knew I had something. The customer feedback is amazing, which is just lovely. So I knew that I just had to keep going and find a way. And it did mean taking a couple of loans and things like that, but I got there. Well, I don't know. Am I there? I don't know. It's easier now.
And so in terms of success,
yeah,
how do you measure your success? Do you feel successful right now?
I do now. It's taken me a long time to say that, but I do now. Yes. I do now in terms of my life, in that I swim a lot. I love swimming, and I have a very bad back that requires me to swim a lot. And I'm able to get to the swimming pool at least 3 times a week, which is success to me, because I now have the time to be able to do that. I'm not working at the weekends. I do work in the evenings, but that's because I choose to. So I would choose to go to swim during the day and catch up in the evenings. But that's my choice. I'm able to spend time with the family. But most of all, I'm building a brand, and the customer feedback is just incredible. And when I get a customer saying that this was an absolute game changer for their child, and I think one customer that stood out said that they had fostered their niece, and their niece had barely spoken and had been having such a hard time. And then they got my visuals, and it was a game changer, and their niece was happier, more relaxed, and started communicating. And that's success right there. It's just brilliant. It's just wonderful to hear how children are and adults with any kind of communication needs are now able to communicate. It's just brilliant.
And the more success that you have, the deeper impact you're able to make, because I know that you also give back as well.
I do. I donate a percentage of my profits to the National Autistic Society. Yes, which is brilliant. I love being able to do that. But I think what you just said then is exactly right. I think where before, when people are afraid of selling, what I now realize is that the more successful my business is, the more products I can create, the more countries I can reach, the more that I can help people communicate. And I think, was it Corey Javid who said, like, when you're selling something, you're offering to help someone, and that's what, the more my business grows, the more that I'm able to help people. So that is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, that brilliant quote by Corey Javid about selling is simply offering someone the opportunity for you to help them.
Yes, that. Yes, that.
And it takes the ickiness out of sales, doesn't it? Because it's like you're just telling them how you can help them, and if they want your help, they can choose to buy from you, and if they don't, they don't, and it's not a rejection of us. It's. Yeah. So that's fantastic. And so what's next for the business?
Oh, good question. Well, I am forever being told by people that these visuals would be really good for people with dementia, for stroke victims, for people with MSA. So I really want to explore that route now. I want to be able to offer visuals that can help with anybody struggling with that sort of thing. It's not my area of expertise. So what I need to do is build a team around me, because I don't want to pretend it is, because it's not. But what I do have is I have the artwork, and the artwork can be applied to anybody of any age. I have the artwork. I have the resources to put the product out there. I just need to work on what the product is. So really, that will be a side branch of Create Visual Aids. I've also got lots of products right here in my head that just need to come to fruition. One of them is I'd like to start creating social stories, which is a story that helps somebody understand the social situation through the story. So that will be going there as well. Lots to do.
I really love the point you made then about building a team around you of people that have the expertise that you don't. And I think that's one thing, that it's so easy for us to fall into this trap of thinking that we should be able to do everything. But I think, if you're going to run a successful business, you have to be aware of the gaps in your own knowledge or your own skills. And like you say, like, reach out and find people and build those relationships with people that can, enhance your business.
Totally. And also, I think you don't know what's out there. And until I joined the Cocoon, I was just running this business all by myself, and I had no idea. I had no clue that there were people that helped you with your branding, and people that helped you with your social media, and all these different things. I just didn't even know they existed. I thought you just tried to sell. And actually being in the cocoon has opened so many doors for me. And like through your momentum days, Erin, you know, I met Cara Sayer, for example, who sells Snooze Shade and is a bit of a guru when it comes to selling on Amazon. And since then, I've been able to link with Cara, and Cara's taught me loads about selling on Amazon. I met Sarah Vikins from Dorset Growth Hub, who then I went for a meeting with Dorset Growth Hub, and they just took my business and went, right, this is brilliant, but you've got a lot of work to do. And you know, that was about 4 years ago, and they set me off, and they were the ones who set me with a new website and just got me going and helped me find out about grants. Who knew that there were grants available? You don't know this until you put yourself out there and find people who do know.
Totally.
And you don't know what you're missing out on.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yep, exactly.
And, you know, and it doesn't have to feel so hard. It is hard running a business, but I think, you know, if you try and do it all alone, it's very isolating as well. But also, you know, you're spending, maybe wasting time trying to understand all this stuff that you think you need to know, instead of just reaching out to someone who can tell you in half an hour what you need to do.
Yes, totally. You can't be expected to know everything. I always say to people, I trained as a teacher. Like, I wasn't a business owner. I had no idea. And yes, I know a lot more now, but I don't know everything. And I know that there's a lot I don't know. Yeah. And I have to reach out. But I can also see how that's scary when you're in the early stages of your business and it's a financial commitment and you don't know if the sales are going to come. But I think if you know you've got something, if I could speak to me a few years ago, I would have said, just go for it. Just keep chipping away for it and go for it. Don't, you know, it was always for me, oh, should I get my products manufactured? If I'd known where it was going to end up, I would have done it years ago. But having said that, I learned a lot and I got the product right when I finally got it manufactured, because you learn from your customers as well.
And I think, you know, you made a great point there about, like, it's taken time to get to the point where you are today, and you've been through a journey. And I think that, you know, there's sadly a lot of messaging out there about business success happening so quickly. And then when people aren't getting there quickly, they're feeling like they must be doing something wrong or they must be failing. But it takes time to build up your business. Yes.
And also, you've also got to be in the right stage in your life. You know, when my children were babies, I didn't have the headspace to do any more than I was doing, which was to just make a few sales. I couldn't cope with any more. You've got to get to the point where in your life it works. And for example, Erin, I've just joined your mastermind. And I think you brought that to me. When did you start that? 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago. And you came to me with the first one, but I wasn't in the right place for it at that point, because I had so much. That's when I was going through all the red tape things, and I wasn't in the place for it, but I am now. And you've got to go with when's right for you as a family, as a business owner. You've got to put it all together. It's all a big puzzle, isn't it? You've got to bring it together.
And I love that as well. And I think it is about being at peace with your current situation. So if you've got young kids, if you've got all sorts of life issues going on and it's a struggle right now to grow your business, like being at peace with that, that's where you are right now. It doesn't mean that's where you're going to be tomorrow or next year. And I think, you know, the more that we fight against that, the more frustrated we feel, and we're more likely to give up, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I totally. And I'll go through phases where I know I've got an idea, a new project, and I just can't do it right now. For now, there might be a few weeks at a time where all I can do at the moment is just run the business as it is. I can't grow it. But then I'll go through other phases where actually, no, everything's good. I'm in a good place. Right now, I can focus on what's next. But that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a journey, and we need to make sure that we're enjoying it. You know,
absolutely,
rather than just like, you know, stressed and burnt out, just trying to get to the end. Like, what is the end? It is all about the journey. Surely.
It's funny because I was talking to someone last week who said, you know, you only really understand the financial value of your business when you sell it. And I thought, oh, can't imagine me ever selling it. I can't. It's my baby. I can't. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'll eat my words in a few years, but right now I just think what is there? What does that look like when you finally get there? I don't think you ever will, because I think the fact that you're a business owner just shows that you're just driven to move on and create greater things.
Yeah, and you still have a lot more impact to make. You know, you've got such a special thing to get out there, and you've got all these ideas of how to grow it further. So it's really exciting.
I'm very lucky to have found something that really, not that everybody's business works. I'm very lucky to have found something that's such a game changer.
Is it luck?
I always have a bit of an issue with people saying, like, people told me I was lucky to leave teaching, and I was like, I worked both my maternity leaves to grow my business, so it wasn't just lucky, it was also very hard work. But maybe fortunate is the word, to have had the idea, because it ties in, not only does it work, but it ties in with something I'm very, very passionate about. You know, I've worked with autistic individuals for years, and I love it. And it's lovely to be able to combine something that sells well with something that really helps people with my area of expertise and passion. I feel very fortunate.
and it's your unique set of skills and personality and all those things that have helped you to grow it. So yeah, I would say it's not about luck. But
Thank you, Erin.
Where can people find out more about you?
You can find me at my website, which is www.createvisualaids.com, or I'm on Instagram, which is create_visual_aids, and Facebook, which is Create Visual Aids.
Thank you so much for sharing today. And I know, I've been bugging you for a while to do something for the Cocoon about Amazon. So looking forward to you sharing your experience.
I'm going to share my Amazon knowledge. That's in my head as well, with all the other ideas.
Thank you so much, Gina.
That's okay.